welcome to the OSTAT podcast, hosted by yours truly, the duo. For anyone new here, my name is Vincent.
And I'm Reese, and today is the day for another round of photographer horror stories.
Dun dun dun!
Our favorite. All of these stories were found online, and boy, do we got some good ones for you today.
Yes, sir.
I feel like people love these, by the way.
Oh, they do. Yeah, why wouldn't they?
True. They're so good.
Because maybe then they can hear something that'll happen at their wedding, and they can get the advice from us on what to do in that certain situation.
True.
There you go.
Not even advice, but like what would we do as professionals too, you know?
Facts.
Okay, let's start with our first one. While unpacking my car for a wedding, a guest came over and asked if I needed help carrying things in. They then, without waiting for my response, picked up my unzipped backpack with all of my cameras and lens inside, and my camera slammed into the concrete, lens first. I had to force a smile and say, "No worries. They are tough. Not that tough." Okay, so for anyone who isn't a photographer, these aren't like backpacks that like you take to school where the top zips up.
Yeah, they look like backpacks, so.
They look like backpacks, but instead of just like the top being zipped up, it goes from like the bottom corner all the way around to the other bottom corner. So the whole front of it flaps open.
Yeah.
So if it's open, everything's gonna just
And
fall.
a lot of times you can put your laptop or your iPad or other electronics inside. There's like a pocket in that like front door kind of thing. So
yes, ours does that. What's funny is that we actually have pretty much the same exact story.
Yeah.
Which I think we may have told on here.
But it wasn't just like, it wasn't a client, it wasn't a friend.
No.
We didn't even know the person's name.
It was LAX airport security.
It was TSA.
Right. Was it LAX or was that after we had gotten off the flight?
It was
No, it was LAX.
LAX TSA.
They unzipped our backpack on our way. We were on our way to Wisconsin for a wedding, so we had all of our gear in this backpack, and they unzipped it while we were going through the scanners to check what was inside, and then they just pushed it through and never zipped it back up.
And by the way, if you ever go through TSA, they are the worst to look through your stuff. Like, you will spend so much time at home organizing and making sure the bag is beautifully packed so that you can stuff as much possible inside of the bag. TSA will ruin the beginning of your trip by just taking everything out. And they don't organize it back. They literally, like, we had our orange bag beautifully organized, like perfect to a T. They just took everything out and then piled it back in. Like, it was piled.
And they just pushed it through. But with a backpack, you can't tell that it's unzipped because they just pushed it back through. So we thought, well, we didn't open it. Why would they open our backpack? And we didn't see them opening it. And we're trying to get through TSA. It's like, there's a lot of people behind you. So I went and just grabbed the backpack up.
I had to grab because there was batteries. There was a lens rolling.
There's a lens rolling. There was 2 cameras on the floor. I think there are iPad. There was a laptop maybe. All of it had smashed on the ground. What's crazy is that the person that was in line behind us at TSA, he was also a photographer who was on his way somewhere in the country for a wedding as well. And so when he saw all of our stuff drop, he was like, "Oh, like, can I help you? Can I help you?" And I was like, I was in a state of shock, honestly, because also I didn't want Vincent to get upset with me thinking I unzipped it and was being negligent.
I knew it was not her because I just knew. I saw them opening everybody else's bag, but I didn't think that they opened our bag because it didn't look open whatsoever. And it also went underneath the thing. There was nothing like inside of it. There was just that we had like our laptop,
cameras, our lens.
Cameras, yeah.
But it was all of like the things that like you need your camera to shoot a wedding.
All the things that like you would think they would have stopped to look at was in the orange bag, not in the backpack. The orange bag had like batteries and a whole bunch of different things in there and drones and stuff. So
it was terrifying. And I was just like so stressed out. 1, because I didn't want to leave anything. 2, we're also in the middle where there's people trying to get past us. So we didn't have time to at that point look at our lenses to see if they were smashed. Yeah. So we were just trying to compile everything in to go off to the side. I'm also terrified Vincent's going to be upset. Like, why didn't you check it? But we had never had something like that happen before. Now, every time we pick that damn thing up, we make sure it's zipped. Thank the good Lord. Not one thing was broken, because if our camera would have broke before that wedding, it was also our first wedding. I don't know what we would have done.
Yeah.
So we understand where this person's coming from. The only difference is I don't care if I'm a professional in the industry or not. If you picked up my bag without me saying, yes, please help me, I would not force a smile and be like, it's all good.
I mean, it's, I think it's just natural instinct. It's an awkward situation.
No,
And
not if I just watched my multi-$1,000 lens cameras smash into the concrete lens first. I don't think I would be smiling. I'd probably be screaming.
Yeah, probably.
So that was our first one. Terrifying.
All right.
Please don't touch other people's things unless they tell you yes.
Number 2 is more in bullet points. So I'm not just skipping over the reading. Okay.
Yes.
Uncle Bob, photographer for 2 weeks at niece's wedding. Professional was taking detail shots.
The professional photographer, so they hired somebody.
The professional photographer was taking the detail shots of the wedding dress. Uncle Bob decided that he did not like it because it was too dark, so he took the wedding dress and moved it. He went to move the rings, but the photographer stopped him. He then continued and yelled at the photographer that she was ruining his niece's photos. Wanted in on family photos, like to take the family photos. Removed all of the photographer's setup for the ceremony and shoved the second shooter. Bride said the photographer ruined her wedding day by not being prepared for the ceremony.
Even though it was Bob's fault.
Yes. First kiss, Uncle stepped in the way and tripped on lighting, and everyone missed the first kiss, the most important shot of the wedding.
Like the photographer, the second shooter, and Bob all missed the first kiss.
The second shooter left after being hit by Bob, by one of the lights falling on her. Bob laid the dress on the grass. During detail shots, after he took the dress away, laid it on the grass, giving it grass stains. Second shooter took pictures of Bob as proof of what he was doing.
Good.
Bride was pissed at Bob.
Don't be a Bob.
Don't be a Bob.
If you have a Bob, if you have someone in your family that you know is going to be a Bob, talk to Bob. We won't put up with Bob.
Look.
I'm just telling you that now. We will not put up with Bob.
When we are hired for a wedding, we don't care who else has a camera. Because we know that the people who should have the cameras and have the most, control over it, or have the, what's that called when you're high up, whatever the hell it's called. Anyway.
The hierarchy.
That's way too official.
Yep,
I like hierarchy?
It.
No.
Yep.
Anyway.
I love how official it is.
If Bob is at your wedding, we're going to tell Bob, you can take pictures, but you're going to be from afar. We're not going to take any recommendations. We're not going to stop what we're doing so you can get a couple shots. We're doing what we are known to do. What we were hired to do. We don't have time, even though you're a photographer for 2 weeks. Cool. I'm glad you picked up the camera. This is not the time to be taking the photos and do all that. This is not time to be adding or trying to add to your portfolio.
We once had
Don't be a Bob.
We once had a quince. I think it was the mom of the birthday girl's cousin. It was like an older gentleman. And he, at first, we didn't know who he was. But he kept taking our birthday girl to do different shots with her while we were trying to get shots. Did it get frustrating? Yes. Okay, got very frustrating. I was very confused. Vincent was very confused. We finally asked the mother of the birthday girl and was like, who is this guy? Did you hire another photographer? Like, we want to know. If you paid him too, okay, great, we'll work with him. And she ended up saying it was her cousin, and we were like, oh. Later on in the event, it really calmed down. Like, he let us do our thing. Like, it wasn't a big deal. And then right as we were about to leave, he came outside where we were. He was like, I just want to let you guys know, like, I'm so sorry if I stepped in your way at all. I really didn't mean to. It was an honor being able to, like, watch the way that you guys work together. I've been in the industry a long time. And seeing the new generation take photos and video and seeing everything, like, that's why I was always where you guys were, was because I wanted to watch you guys and see what you were doing. The nicest guy, but emphasis on the fact that he said, I hope I was never in your way and I never wanted to. We loved that. Were we confused at first because he was trying to take photos and we were trying to take photos? Yeah, we were. Was he snatching our bride or our birthday girl while we were doing photos. No, that was never happening. It was like, okay, we have a small break for a second. Let's find a new spot. Oh, wait, she just walked over there. Can that get a little frustrating when you have time constraints? Yes. But the fact that he came up to us afterwards and was like, I just wanted to watch you guys work. We were talking about our lenses and our flash, and
it's always
giving
really interesting to
recommendations.
work with older photographers because they don't have a lot of them that we've worked with. The older photographers don't have modern cameras.
No.
They don't have modern. So a lot of their cameras are still running on actual like AA batteries. Their flashes are running on AA batteries. They're not mirrorless at all.
Which is fine, but like you'll really tell when we're working with them which ones are interested in our cameras and which ones like want to be like, okay, I've been doing this a long time. I love watching the younger generation to see, what they do. And, if he asked for a flash recommendation because he wanted to switch over to the one we were using. But then there's also the older photographers that have no interest in what you're doing. Yeah. They love the way that they do it, and good for them, power to them. It's just if we're working alongside them, our work's going to be very different.
Yeah. 100%.
That's the number one thing. If you're hiring two separate people, the works are going to be absolutely different. But yes, be a guy like this one, the cousin at this quince. Be one like him. Don't be a Bob. Because
don't be a Bob.
I won't.
And I'm sorry if your name is this, but don't be a Karen either.
Yeah, if your name's Karen, we probably love you if you're watching this. But I will say though, if we were ever at a wedding and I knew or Vincent found out that a guest was shoving our second shooter April, I would not be okay with it.
No,
nobody's ever done that to us.
If we found out that anybody had gotten shoved whatsoever, no, we're going to go to the groom or the bride, whichever is right there.
I think April got yelled at one time at a wedding.
Yeah.
But the lady was super drunk and April kind of laughed it off. But if you're going to put hands on one of our employees, that's not going to be okay.
No shoving.
This isn't a ad, but this drink is really good. I think I just talked about it in a different one. I'm still obsessed with it. It's no Diet Coke, but
yeah.
Sorry, I saw it. It looks like an advertisement. Look how pretty with the red lighting behind it. Do you see it? No, on the thing.
We can't get advertisement yet.
It's okay.
We're not there yet.
The all around thing of this is don't be a Bob. And more importantly, brides and grooms everywhere. Don't make us deal with a Bob. Please.
If you're going to a wedding, enjoy the wedding. This is a time for you to just sit back, relax, watch two people and their love for one another, have a drink or eat a good amount of food, and just enjoy the day. That's it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because this would be good for other people too. How do you feel when we are at weddings and we are clearly like in the zone? When you have mother-in-laws or aunts, no offense, but it's usually women, coming up to us saying, well, what if you did this differently? Or have you taken this photo yet? Don't forget to do this.
A lot of times what people like to do is they have recommendations on different poses and stuff, or they'll say, oh, it'll look really nice underneath there. And so like if they have a pose recommendation, they say, oh, I want to stand like this. Well, then, maybe sometimes they'll go over there and they'll stand like that. And then they realize that it's actually kind of awkward. And that it's not good, and that the way that we're saying to stand is actually a better way, or where we're taking the pictures is actually a better spot because they don't take into account the sun or any kind of lighting whatsoever, or the background. A lot of people are big on that. So we can, people can say it and give their recommendations, and we can shake our head like, oh yeah, doesn't mean we're going to do it. And most of the times we don't do it because
we already have thought about it.
We believe in what we say.
I don't really mind recommendations because sometimes we've gotten some recommendations where we're like, oh, that's such a great idea. Thank you. I don't mind that. What I do mind is when we're in the zone doing our job and...
Because normally it's really fast paced.
Yes.
During the family photos.
Family photos specifically is what I'm talking about, actually.
Yeah.
And grandpa or aunt or mom, anybody comes over and they're like, did you do this variation? Can you do that variation? And what they don't know is that in our head, we already have all the variations in a row. Like we know what we're doing.
We're getting there.
And we also have the wedding planner standing right behind us. Like, hey guys, we're on a time crunch.
Yeah.
So that can take time away from us doing our job. If you think we haven't done a variation, it's probably because we're not there yet. So if you just be patient with us, then you'll probably see that we're going to do it. And if it's the end of family photos and we haven't done it, well, then you as a family member need to take into consideration that we know exactly what variation the bride and groom wants. So if your variation of the bride and her third cousin that just came in from Tennessee, the bride didn't want that, or else she would have asked for it. So it is their wedding. If they don't want a photo with that person, specifically just the two of them, then that's not what we're going to do because it's about the bride and groom. And also, if you do say, hey, bride, what about a photo of just you and your brother's wife? If the bride wants it, she'll tell us. And if we have time, we'll do it. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I have trouble
and
with.
we have shot lists
Yeah,
that the
that's what I was
bride
saying.
and the
Yeah.
groom go over.
We already
And
know
so-
going into it what they want.
Exactly. They let us know, and we have a little section at the very bottom of the shot list that says, are there any other variations that were not on this list that you want? And if there is, then they write it down right there. So we have all that information prior to. But that's something that guests who are at the wedding, they're not aware of. They
No.
don't know any of the behind the scenes of things like that.
I would say more than anything, it's not that the bride and groom don't want a photo with that person. It's that you're asking us like 4 minutes into the photos and we're just not there yet.
Yeah.
Like, you're asking for a photo of the bride and her sister. Well, of course we're going to get that. But right now we're at the bride and her parents. Like,
It just takes
you know,
time. Just
we're at
takes
the groom
time.
and his dad. Why are we talking about the bride and her sister when we're not even there yet?
Yeah.
So if you just sit back, get a drink, enjoy your time at the wedding, you'll more than likely see that we are perfectly capable
Eat a
of
moon
doing our job.
pie. Eat a moon pie.
moon pie, we'll bring you
Relax. Find a cute gal or a cute guy and go dance with them. You know?
I promise we know what we're doing.
Have a fun time.
Promise. Relax.
Number 3.
Greek Orthodox wedding is what this wedding photographer was shooting. And she forgot to ask if there were any rules for the church. The rule was that the photographer could not move whatsoever during the ceremony. At all. Cannot walk, you cannot do anything, you have to stand exactly in one spot. Since the photographer didn't know that, she was moving up and down. So the bishop paused the entire ceremony and screamed at her to stop being a distraction and stop moving now. I didn't add this in here, but she said that at that moment, she was on the ground, sitting next to the father of the bride, like who was in the row. And so she was on the ground, going like this, taking the photo. And the bishop was standing on the, like, you know,
The balcony kind
yeah,
of
the
thing.
stage thing.
Yeah.
And behind him was this huge photograph of Jesus Christ. Like, I mean, massive one. She goes, so in that moment, I looked up and she said, I felt like Jesus Christ himself was yelling at me. She goes, he was above me and he was screaming. Like, can you imagine if you were a bride and during your beautiful church ceremony, the bishop starts screaming?
Yeah.
At your photographer too?
Um,
She said she learned a lesson and that she's never, ever, ever shot in a church again without asking if there are rules.
we have shot in multiple different churches,
Mhm.
and always beforehand we will reach out to the church or to our client who goes to the church and ask them any questions that we may need answered. One of the big ones is flash because of the windows. The glass is a special kind of glass where it cannot be exposed to bright lights like super fast or something like that.
It's that, but also, do you remember Adelina's Kinsey?
Yeah.
He said that no flash because it's distracting.
Yeah.
So it's a distraction thing too. So I think it's both.
It really just depends, but it's important to always reach out, church or not, always reach out to the venue and get your questions answered.
Absolutely.
With something like a church, there's really not much you can do. If they do have these rules in place, there's really not much that you can do, because you do have to respect them because you are in their place of worship. So
Yeah. We always ask.
yeah, it's.
I think we've gotten one where he said no flash because it's distracting. And then we had a baptism where we could only walk and stand in certain spots.
Yeah.
Like we couldn't go anywhere near. It's not a stage. What is it called? An altar?
It was like an altar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like an altar. We couldn't go anywhere near that. But yeah, it's usually flash or distractions, I guess. So we've had something similar, but we asked beforehand, so we were never screamed at in the middle of a ceremony.
It just depends, I guess.
Right.
So, all right, number 4. Had a wedding in 113-degree heat. Ouch.
No.
I blacked out during the ceremony and collapsed from the heat onto my camera. Family photos were to follow, and I shot them without checking on my camera first. When I got home, I realized my camera did malfunction and didn't write 10 groupings of family photos. Ouch. So I'll tell you what. We've had issues with cameras overheating.
The camera didn't overheat.
No, I know the camera didn't overheat.
But
I'm just
I think
talking,
it did.
I'm just
No,
talking
but I
about the
think it
heat.
did.
It probably did. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So I have the Sony A7 Mark IV. She has the Sony A7 Mark III. Okay, now the 4 is the better camera,
Meh, beg to differ.
but it has one major downfall. It has an overheating problem. Hers does not.
I don't.
Hers can record for hours upon hours and be A-okay. Mine, if I try to record in 4K at 30 or 4K at 60 for a good period of time, it will overheat. And so what I did is...
actually. My camera has a 30 minutes turn off thing.
Oh, that's right, because of taxes and the government and all that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I bought a little fan for my camera that just clips onto the back of it, which will cool down the innards.
It does a good job.
It does a really good job. It tells you the temperature of the camera on the back of it, and it shows it slowly going down. But with this, I mean, I get it.
I couldn't imagine having
First
our
of
cameras
all,
out in 113
she collapsed. Okay.
She passed out during the ceremony.
She should, and I know that weddings are a very fast-moving or fast-paced day. They should have given her a little bit of time, a little more time.
No, I'm sorry. If it's 113 degrees out, you move that. Sorry, that's gonna be bleeped.
We'll bleep
That's
it.
gonna be bleeped.
Wow.
You're gonna move that ceremony and reception indoors.
What time are we at? Can you see that up there?
It's 23 minutes on the recorder.
All right.
Sorry, You're gonna move it indoors though. Am I wrong? In 113 degree heat? How did everyone not pass out?
I mean, well, it just depends. Like I would have questions for the photographer. Did you know it was going to be that hot? If you knew, then did you bring a fan? Did you bring ice? Did you drink plenty of water? All of those things. I mean, we don't know that.
I think in the full paragraph, she had a wedding the day before. So she had a Saturday wedding and a Sunday wedding. The Saturday wedding was on the other side of the state, I think she said. It's like 6 hours away from the first one. And that one was 106 degrees.
So it's around the same thing, though.
And that she said she did okay. But the difference was that it was humid.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was a little wet in the air. So she was okay. But then the 114 was like dry. Like it was dry. And she passed out.
For us personally, if we were in that situation and say, people wanted to get married in Death Valley.
I'm begging you, please don't make me do that.
Death Valley is a very hot place. I think this last week it got up to 120 degrees, which is nothing. It goes up way higher there. But if we were to get hired for a wedding that was going to be in 113 degree weather, we'd bring a lot of water. We'd bring ice packets. We would bring the fans that go around our necks. We would wear thin clothing. We would prepare liquid IV.
I'm showing up in a bathing suit.
But we would prepare for something like that. I don't know if this lady did. I'm just saying what we would do in this situation. But if you do pass out or anything like that during a wedding, it is important that you do sit down.
You take the time to recover for a minute.
Get the fluids in, that we can get your brain flowing back, and so you're ready to go right after that. It's better to take a little more time to recover than recover right away and then be like at 50% the rest of the wedding day.
But poor camera. So yeah, she lost out on 10 groupings, not 10 photos. 10 groupings. It's like all the family photos. And now that I'm thinking about it, it probably wasn't because she fell on top of her camera. It was probably a heat malfunction. It probably
yeah.
couldn't write onto the SD card.
Was having difficulties writing. Yeah.
113-degree heat. I cannot imagine taking our cameras out in 113-degree heat.
Yeah.
It's hot in here right now.
We got the fan on over there.
I know, but I'm sweating over here.
She's wearing a blanket, so.
Yes, I am. Okay, are you ready for the last one?
Number 4.
I was a second shooter, and the main shooter's battery died right before the first kiss. Why would you let that happen? Anyway, luckily, I was able to get the shot for them and thought everything was fine. At the end of the night, I went to give the main shooter all of my SD cards, and I was missing one. The first kiss SD card was gone.
I wonder who took it.
I started to panic, which the guests picked up on. The entire wedding ended up searching everywhere for my SD card, including the bride and groom. We never found it. 2 weeks later, I went to put my lens hood on my camera at a family session, and my SD card flew out. I don't know how it was there, but I was so happy to find it. So for 2 weeks, they thought they didn't have any photos of the first kiss. Her SD card was attached to her lens hood.
But it was inside her camera.
No, she had multiple SD cards throughout the day.
Oh.
So when she reached in to grab all the SD cards to give to the first shooter,
Yeah.
one of them was missing.
Oh.
So I'm assuming they were probably shooting on like 32 gig or 60 something, and then we're doing them in things, which is
Gotcha.
which is fine. But she was missing one. Well, it had slipped into the lens hood and was stuck.
That'll happen. SD cards. Those things are so small. I mean, us as photographers, we lose our lens cap like nobody's business. And lens caps.
Or we forget to take our lens cap off during shoots.
I don't. I never do.
I do.
Reese does.
Every time.
I'm good at that.
Every time. But it's a icebreaker because then everyone starts laughing because they're pointing a camera at them with the lens cap on.
Yeah, but losing those is so easy.
Yeah. We've been on our hands and knees in our office looking for SD cards.
And so, like, you have the micro SD card, which is about this big. Can I grab one so I can actually show the people? Okay. Hang on, Reese is gonna talk.
So, I didn't write all of this on here, but your whole face was just in front of the camera.
I'm so sorry.
That was really close. The whole, like, everyone at the wedding was searching. Oh, okay, so this is no. Okay, so it kind of looks huge when you put it up next to my head. It looks like it's the same size. There. So that's how tiny it is. And here is what holds it.
SD card reader.
Yes. Tiny. Tiny, 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 tiny. Like, probably the size of my nail. Go down. Right there. Yeah. It's microscopic, okay? So you can lose those very, very easily. We don't really ever leave any of the micros out. We usually have them in a reader at all times, or else we would lose all of our stuff. And some of ours don't even have a micro.
No micros.
But yeah, she thought she lost it.
Yeah.
Thank God she found it. She said the photographer was so happy and the bride and groom were so happy 2 weeks later when she found it.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be terrifying though. I would not have left that place without finding it.
But props to the whole wedding that decided to get on their hands and knees and look for it. I would have
tore all of our bags apart. I would have gotten the knife out and ripped the bags open and thought maybe it had fallen in there somewhere. I would have taken all the chairs apart. I would have reached in everybody's pockets to make sure we find that.
Yeah.
I would have found it.
They just called it a loss. 2 weeks later,
No.
she ended up finding it.
That's good though. I'm glad that they found it.
I feel like we need another one. Should I try to find another one?
You could try. Anyway, so that update that we have been saying that we have, we still don't have that update. We're not going to find that out until later this month.
Like 2 weeks.
In about 2 weeks, then we'll find out, and then we can announce it. So, yeah. By the way, I have one other thing. We went to the LA County Fair 2 weekends ago. and we got a picture drawn of us. And we're going to show you that right now. All right. Are you ready? Okay. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Whoops.
Look how cute. Okay, so me and Vincent are on the bottom. My dad is the bald one. And my little brother is the one up above me.
With the eyebrows.
With his long hair. I was kind of mad because they made his hair as long as mine, and it's not. I mean, it's really long, but
Look at that
look
arm
how
muscle.
cute. I'm a vampire, and I bit Vincent's neck. So cute.
See that
I
arm?
turned him creepy.
See that nice? Look at that. That's toned.
What's your arm?
Look at that.
Ooh.
Looks good.
That looks good.
But yeah.
Okay, I have a question, Vincent. How would you take this?
I wouldn't.
Bride and groom already had 2 kids together, but the groom also had a son from a previous relationship.
Okay.
It was obvious the bride didn't really care for the groom's son. The son adored his dad. The bride and groom's kid were a part of the bridal party, but not his son. I saw the son sitting with Granny during the ceremony and crying. During family photos, he was excluded from their family photo too. Very strange, didn't sit right with me as a photographer.
I guess it can depend on the mother-in-law and the son's relationship. They don't have a good relationship. But if she did go into that relationship, looking at that kid a different way, shame on her.
Shame on the dad of the son who stayed with her when she didn't treat her son or his son.
Well,
right.
yeah, he didn't stand up for his son, but you should. It's never.
And shame on her.
It's never the
He's
child's
just a
fault.
kid.
If you have a disagreement with your significant other or that significant other's other significant others, don't take it out on the child. It's not the child's fault. It's the adult's fault. So that's what I would say to that. Don't blame the kids.
Never.
But yeah, so I think that's what?
I don't know how I feel about this.
Can I see?
Bride spent the whole. This is a dude photographer.
All right.
Bride spent the entire time in the bridal suite in her underwear, showing off her boob job to everybody in there. Tried not looking to be respectful. Felt worse for the videographer who was a young man. He spent most of his time hiding in the corner, looking down, trying to avoid her. And trying to take videos of other things that were happening in the bridal suite. There's nothing you can do. Honestly. There's really nothing you can do. I mean, bridal suites are meant for them to change in, I guess.
It's different. It's different. Here we go. It's different. If it's a woman photographer and a woman videographer, I would say yeah. But I think if it's males, if you're the males who are doing it, I think the respectful thing obviously is to turn away.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, I don't know why. If you have males in there, why are you? Because all I think about is if you reversed it, then it wouldn't. The story, people's feelings might be a little bit different about it. That's the only thing.
I think it's just a little, like, I understand it's your wedding day. It's all about you that day. You're with all of your loved ones. But, like, you also have vendors in there.
Right.
And it's not like they were friends.
No.
Like, it's not like it's her photographer that was a friend.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a little.
And you also don't want the groom getting mad at you.
Yeah, that could be a thing, too.
Why were you in there when that was going on?
Well, and also, like, you're not going to have any getting ready photos, really, because all of them are going to be, you're kind of naked.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It's your wedding day, honestly, though. It's your wedding day.
It's your wedding day, but still, So, any other questions? Do you have a Reese question of the day? Or no?
I always do.
All right.
Let me think.
I always do.
What's your biggest takeaway of this last week? You learn any lessons? Come up with any new goals?
No new goals. I've had we both have had the same goals for a little bit now. That we're on track to meet. So no new goals. Just trying to finish the already set goals. Can't make any new goals until you finish the first ones. Learned anything new? I learn new things every day. I don't know. You go first. I don't know.
New takeaways this week? I learned that I didn't learn, but I really solidified it for me how much I love our job and how I think that we're a little too hard on ourselves sometimes. So looking at our Instagram yesterday, and it got me all emotional because I was like, wow, we've come so far.
It looks good.
It looks so good,
A lot
guys.
of hard work. We're very hard on ourselves.
Very hard on ourselves, but then I was looking at it and I was like, wow, this is like what I always dreamed our page would look like. And like we're here.
But I'd rather be hard on ourselves than
just
full
not
of
caring.
ourselves.
Yeah. Amen.
I have dry mouth like nobody's business right now.
I can't tell, so that's good.
I was just trying to talk and I could not talk.
I couldn't tell. This upcoming weekend, I'm really excited. It's Father's Day. Spend it with our dads. We spent Father's Day with one of my dads. Sunday? Wait, what? Friday?
Thursday.
It was Friday. So we got
Happy wife, happy life.
Yep. Make me your wife. Spent it with one of my dads.
I've asked her multiple times.
Shut up.
I ask her every week. She says no.
That joke is getting old.
For you.
Spent it with one of my dads already, and then we have both of our dads this weekend. Big weekend.
Yeah. Yesterday we sent out 2 sessions.
Yeah.
We're currently working on a quince right now, both photo and video, so it does take a bit more of time.
We booked a quince yesterday. We should be booking another wedding in the next week or so.
We're in contact with different clients with possible bookings. We have to go scout a location today to see if it's all
cools
good.
Down. If not,
if it cools down right now,
we have like over a month until the shoot.
Yeah,
so we're fine.
it's hot. Yeah. Things that I learned or takeaways.
I learned that I don't like driving. I drove 2 days in a row this weekend. Did not enjoy it. I'm definitely a passenger princess.
Oh, I learned that I really, really, really like the smell of old furniture.
Where were we that you smelled old furniture?
We were in a thrift store.
With furniture in it?
Where we got that? You want to show the people what we got?
Oh, there. Yeah, we'll show.
I don't know if it's like a nostalgia kind of thing, but for some reason, I love it. It like takes me back. All right, so we got a new camera right there. Wow, it's Kodak.
Isn't she pretty?
It's nice and it has the camera strap. Look at how like thin and
It's so cool. Look at my tattoo on my arm.
yeah. Look at how thin and like flimsy the camera strap they used to be. Compared to what they are now, they're built for war. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't really have
This thrift store also had old not magazines, newspapers with like ads for Target, but it was like 1994, I think it was. So cool to look at.
So we got to see the prices of what they used to be compared to what they are now.
Did we cry a little bit? Yeah. But it was fun. We did that with Dad.
Yeah.
And Anthony.
But yeah, I know. Kind of weird. I like this. Yeah.
That's cool.
It's nostalgic, I guess.
I respect that.
There you go.
Oh, something I learned this weekend. I do not like Chicago pizza. Chicago thin crust pizza.
You wouldn't like the...
I don't think I would either.
You wouldn't like the other one?
I don't think I would either. But I don't like Chicago thin crust pizza. I've decided that.
Yep. Picky gal.
No. I just have high standards when it comes to food.
Me
Okay,
too.
I have one last question for this podcast.
Okay.
What time is it?
It is currently 1:58.
Okay. If we finish this in the next 4 minutes.
Can I guess it?
Yeah.
Can you take me to get a Diet Coke? This girl.
Am I that predictable?
She has not had a Diet Coke today.
No, I was trying to talk my mom into taking me while she stopped by to see us. She had a hair appointment, so she wouldn't take me.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't really ask her. I said, I really want one. She said, I would have gotten you one on the way here. I should have had her do that.
Yeah.
So is that a yes?
Sure. So,
Love that.
all right. So, with that, if you are still watching, we greatly appreciate you. We're about 40-ish minutes in, so
And we have not overheated.
we've not overheated, which is great. Maybe it's because we have the fan on. Hopefully, you have not been able to hear the fan this entire time. But if you've made it this far, we greatly appreciate you. If you're not already following us on our social medias, go ahead and do that at SNAPPDUO on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Pinterest.
I have to add to that.
And Pinterest and YouTube and Spotify. If you're watching on Spotify, don't forget to subscribe. And if you're listening on Spotify, thank you for listening. And don't forget to follow our page and plus this video or heart this podcast, whatever it's called.
And happy Father's Day to all of our Snap Duo dads.
A very, very happy Father's Day from us to you.
And happy Father's Day to our number one viewer, our dad.
Cheers.
Love you all. Thank you. See you next week. And goodbye.
Bye.